So, since we honored the women's group today, I thought it might be a really good idea to ask the question, what would have happened in this great Christmas saga, this great drama of Christmas, if the three wise men had been three wise women? How would it have been different? Well, historians did a great deal of speculating about that and came up with this is how the Christmas story would have been different if three wise women had shown up. They certainly would have stopped and asked for directions. They would have arrived on time as a result of asking for directions, and they would have helped deliver that baby. And they first would have cleaned the stable, made a casserole and brought it, and would have brought much more practical gifts. I believe that's true. You know, however we view this great Christmas story, many of us look at it many different ways. We look at it as the inerrant Word of God. It absolutely historically happened just the way it is laid out in the Gospels. Or it's a wonderful story that is completely and totally unbelievable. However you look at it on this great spectrum, this story has something to teach us. And so we can make ourselves crazy, blue in the face, arguing about the facts of Christmas, of who showed up when, where it actually happened, was there actually a virgin birth? We can make ourselves crazy debating all of that, or we can look at the story and see, does it have value for my life today? Does this story and do the characters in this story have value for me today to allow me to have a greater life experience? You see, every character within this magnificent story, every character within the Bible represents something within us. When we look at the Bible metaphysically and the Christmas story metaphysically, these characters mean something to us. And every one of these characters exists within us at some level. Energetically, they are a part of us. Now, in this Christmas story, many of those characters were challenged to move beyond the ordinary. Can you relate to that? On a spiritual path, we are constantly called to move beyond mediocrity. On the spiritual path, we are constantly urged to move beyond status quo and to move out of the ordinary to an extraordinary life, knowing that there's always more God for us to experience, more heaven for us to experience, more Christ, if you will, for us to experience. These characters, Mary, Joseph, the shepherds, were all asked to move out of their comfort zones into something magnificent. And they did that through visitations of angels. Now, angels, it's important to recognize, metaphysically understanding this beautiful story, are messengers. They are messengers of God. And you, believe it or not, are visited by angels all the time. In unity and metaphysics, we call it divine intuition, divine stirring, divine urging that is within us for that greater expression of life, for that giving birth to the Christ experience, the Christ awareness, that Christ goodness, whatever it may look like in your particular life. I shudder to think how I would react if an actual angel with wings on and a halo visited me. I'd probably be a little bit scared. But the reality is, those angels that don't have halos and wings visit us all the time. Every morning I get up, and there's a divine urging for a greater expression of life. And sometimes it makes me just as uncomfortable as if there was a 7-foot angel saying glory to God in the highest and asking me to sing along with him. And the reason it brings up that trepidation within us is because as Mary and Joseph and the shepherds realized that this great story that they were called into, to step into completely, was filled with great promise. But it was also filled with great danger. Incredible danger. And at any given moment, every one of these characters was asking themselves the question, who, me? Who, me? Why did I get this call? Why did this call come for me? Who, me? Holy? No, I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy enough. I don't have anything it's going to take for this journey to be made reality through me. I cannot handle this. Can anybody relate to that? Mary did it. Joseph did it. The shepherds did it. I do it. We do it all the time. You know, nobody said the spiritual path was going to be easy. And there are some days, don't you just wish I could just be stagnant today? I could just live in my mediocrity today and be okay with the status quo. But we made a decision as spiritual seekers to give birth to higher realities, to greater vibrations, to more magnificent experiences. So how do you respond? How do you respond when those angels visit you from within? How do you respond? Is it with thoughts and feelings and words that say, I'm not good enough? I'm not smart enough to do this. I'm not strong enough to do this. That's what Mary said. That's what Joseph said. Why me? Why me? I'm not holy. And it's important to ask that question and to do some self-examination about how you respond to those visitations, because it is determining the kind of life that you are having. It's determining the kind of Christmas you are having, the kind of 2014 you're going to have, and the type of life that you are going to be having. It's going to determine whether you are living in a state of receptivity or a state of resistance. And I know that we're all enlightened enough to know that receptivity invites in greater experiences. Resistance invites more things to be resistant about. The mindset, the thoughts, and the tapes that we are playing in our head and in our heart, the feelings, are going to determine if we are in a state of creation or a state of negation. And I would say one is the kingdom of heaven, creation. Negation is a state of being in the kingdom of hell, because you're not truly living. You know, there's a fallacy that we're either growing or we're stagnant. There is no stagnation, really. It is growing or dying just a little bit. And that's where negation is going to take us. So, who? Me holy? Anybody say no way when you got that call? The phone call from the boss for the promotion? Or the family member that asked you in a time of need that they needed you to help out? Who? Me holy? Not me. I'm not good enough. When that opportunity came across your desk, what were the words you thought about yourself? What were the feelings you held about yourself? You know, we can debate till we're blue in the face about whether Christmas is about an immaculate conception. That's a real waste of time. In Unity, we say that Christmas is really about an immaculate perception. Not immaculate conception, an immaculate perception. Giving birth to the Christ is the view of how we are seeing ourselves. Are we perceiving ourselves as the holy, infinite presence of God made manifest as Christ, expressed in everything we are? Or do we see ourselves as less than? Now, my blog this past week, I used that particular term, immaculate perception, in regards to seeing the good and the love and the magnificence and the light in everybody else. But isn't that easier than seeing it within our own selves? We're our worst critics. We're the ones that limit ourselves more than anybody else on the planet. We have a church that can see great good in me, but there are days I can't see it for myself. And my job to give birth at Christmas time is to have an immaculate perception of who I truly am, of my divine source. Christmas is a call to stop limiting ourselves and to stop playing small and to say yes to life. You see, Christ is not one person. Christ is not one holy sect of people, but Christ is the divine idea in the mind of God, the divine idea of humanity. Christ is the essence, the source, the light, and the life that is the divine idea of everybody in this room. And those that chose to stay home today, it is the divine idea of them as well. And our view of who we are is going to determine whether it is born, whether that Christ is given life or it dies. Who? Me, holy? We are called to have an immaculate perception and answer that question with, yes, me. I invite you to repeat after me. I'm going to have you do this several times in the talk. Say, who? Me, holy? Together. Yes, me. And I want you to do the physical act with me too. Who? Me, holy? Yes, me. You know, the reality is we have shepherds within us. We fall asleep. I don't know about you, but I fall asleep. I fall asleep to these principles that we teach, that we know, and sometimes we fall asleep. That we have shepherds within us. It says in all the Christmas songs and all the stories, the shepherds were keeping watch by night. By night. You know what? We as human beings are going to have nighttime experiences where we forget the truth. But there is that within us, the shepherd, that is always gently guiding. Always gently guiding. So don't beat yourself up when you fall asleep, but know that there is a divine essence that is untouched by your human experience, that is gently guiding you into places of peace and harmony. But just like all the characters in this Christmas drama, we too will always experience tension. Tension between the motivation of a greater life and the trepidation as the callings that we receive at once, at the very same time, I don't know how it's possible, but it happens, excite our passions. We get juiced up. I'm so excited about the opportunity. But at the same time, raise our fears. And why is that? Because the journey of becoming, the journey of giving to Christ is neither devoid of risk and neither does it have any certain outcome. There is no certain outcome of what you're going to be on the other side of that birthing process. Doesn't that scare us as human beings? It's exciting. I'm on a journey, but I don't know what it's going to be. And there is going to be risk. And we're going to talk about some of those risks. Christmas is all about discovering new dimensions within ourselves, and in doing so, having to confront that fight or flight response of our human nature. I'm going to lash out or I'm going to run away. And how we react to that is going to determine whether Christ is born or not. So this great Christmas story is nothing more than a hero's journey. It is your hero's journey. It is our hero's journey. And what determines whether these callings will lead us to an extraordinary experience in life or merely momentarily quicken our heart rate, make us sweat a little bit, and then it's long forgotten, will be how we confront those dragons. On a hero's journey, how do we confront the dragons that come up? So I mentioned that each of these characters in this story represent parts of us. So let's liken the dragon to the Roman Empire. King Herod, the dragon on this great journey. Now, if you look at the Roman Empire and you look at historically, it was about gluttony. It was about acquisition. It was about the physical manifestation of having more land, of having more people, of having more stuff, of having all the wealth. This is what we as human beings see as abundance. Yet, there is a Christed awareness that has nothing to do with all of this gluttony. And King Herod is going to show up in you as that fear, as that doubt, as that judgment. And most importantly, King Herod's going to show up in you as the need to control. The Roman Empire needed to control the people. And that Roman Empire shows up in us as our need to control our human circumstance. You see, there is no certain outcome, and that frightens the Roman Empire of our being. And so we're asked by the angelic forces and presences and urgings within us, who, me give up control? Yes, me. Repeat after me. Who, me give up control? Yes, me. For Christmas to happen every moment of your life, there needs to be giving up a human control, the human ego that needs to dictate everything in our lives. And what is the solution to that Roman Empire? We have Mary and Joseph, the divine feminine and the divine masculine. Let's deal with Mary first of all. She represents the divine idea of love, divine receptivity. Now, it's important to recognize that when we recognize ourselves as love, Mary is within us. We've all felt those moments of love, deep, deep passion and okayness in being just a place of love. But it's important to recognize that the fear doesn't go away. Sometimes I think on our spiritual path, we think that, well, all of a sudden I have a thought of love. There's supposed to be no more fear in my life. It's supposed to be easy again in my life. But if we examine Mary's journey, the fear was absolutely right there. When Spirit told her that there was plans for her to do something magnificent through her, she reacted with disbelief and unworthiness. It didn't go away. And why is that? Well, because what I call the neener machine, we'll call that the Roman Empire, the fear, the doubt, the pity committee. There's another name for that, but I'll call it the pity committee today. She knew that there was going to be horrible repercussions for this decision. She was going to be outcast by her tribe, by her culture. Nobody said the spiritual path was going to be easy. Nobody said that the spiritual path was going to be all a bed of roses, peaches, and cream. But what the Scripture teaches us is that love is more powerful than the criticism coming from the outside. Anybody experience that when you are in a state of growing, a state of becoming, that there's no shortage of people that want to put you back in the box? They're not comfortable with you. Your tribe, your culture isn't comfortable with your growing. And they're going to rush in, the energies are going to rush in to make it difficult to grow. Our job in those moments of Christmas awareness and consciousness is to know that love is more powerful. And that's exactly what Mary did. She transcended her fears. She transcended that criticism, and she says, "This is mine to do." She ultimately surrendered and offered herself for God's purpose, for the higher purpose, for the spiritual purpose, despite what it would mean for her. She had to know, and we have to know, that we are worthy. Again, we come back to the tapes we're playing in our head. Again, we come back to the language that we're speaking about ourselves. Do you really, truly see yourself as worthy? When your head hits the pillow each night and you go to bed, are there thoughts of worthiness and gratitude for what you have brought to the planet? Or is it critique? Is it criticism? You see, you are the very tribe. The tribe of criticism of Mary exists within us. And if you want Christ to be born in you, if you want the heavenly experience to be born in you, you must hit the pillow with your head on that pillow and remember how beautiful you are, how magnificent you are, how powerful you are, how good you are, even in the course of your mistakes, even in the course of falling down. We must love ourselves. So we must say every night and every morning upon rising, "Who, me love?" Yes, me. Together. "Who, me love?" Yes, me. When you say yes, me, is that a convicted yes, me? Or is that he just asked me to say it? Determining the energy behind the words is very, very important to your spiritual path and to your Christmas experience. Now, Christ will not be born with just love. What did she have to access? She had to access some strength. Then we have Joseph. You know, Joseph is one of my heroes in this story. This guy had the easiest out. He had the easiest out. Nobody would have criticized this guy for packing up his bags and saying, "I'm done." Could have been part of the culture that said she's a harlot. She cheated on me. Yet something within him knew that he could not give up his love, the love of his life. He had to find a strength and a courage to stand up against his homies who were encouraging him to get up, pack the bag, leave. The spiritual path, nobody promised it was going to be easy. He had to transcend his own judgments. He had to transcend the judgments of his culture and the ridicule of his tribe and offer everything he had to the protection of that love. You see, when you get down to it, the most important thing, we talk a lot about divine ideas in this church, in all churches, in the Christmas story. At the end of the day, if the love is not protected, if the love is not safe, all the rest is just commentary. And so we are asked during this Christmas season to give everything we have, despite the difficulties, despite being tired, despite being frustrated, to protect that love that is expressing at the point of you. And that takes strength. But when that strength and that love are united in harmony, the divine feminine and the divine masculine, nothing can stop the Christ from being born. So who, me strong? Yes, me. Repeat after me. Who, me strong? One more time together. Who, me strong? Yes, me. And it's important to recognize sometimes we answer those calls. Who, me strong? Maybe, yeah, maybe. We are called to be in our Christness, to be in our light, to be in our power, to be in our strength. And the spiritual path is not about playing small. It's not about succumbing to the criticism of the tribe. It's not about succumbing to the neener machine or the pity committee in your head. It is about being strong and convicted and saying, yes, me strong. I have everything within me. The presence of God is expressing within me in such a way that I have all the resources I need to accomplish the journey that is mine to do it. The love and the strength come together. And we can decide, just like these characters did and the shepherds did, to trust the process. Now, I'm going to think you're a little bit crazy if you're going around following a star. But I know that there is a light shining within each and every one of us that is calling us to a greater expression of God right here, right now, this Christmas, if we are paying attention. If we are paying attention, the universe is always urging us to that greater expression. And that light is shining brightly. And it is our job to follow that star within us, to follow that light, to follow that inner stirring. And know that we're going to have divine discontent. You know, angels show up, and they sometimes look like divine discontent. That inner stirring isn't necessarily a sweet little angelic voice. It sometimes is screaming at us, stop playing small. Stop being in your mediocre life and start living the potential that you were designed to be. The God being that you were designed to be. And, you know, I say angels often show up more like mosquitoes. They feel like a herd of mosquitoes all around you, and you just want to push them away and shove them away from you. That is a divine urging of God, angelic forces that are saying, be more. Be more than you have been. That is Christmas. Give birth to the Christ of your very nature. That is Christmas. Let us know that we are being called to something higher, always, something greater, something more magnificent, something absolutely more authentically you. Something more authentically me. Something more authentically us. We take off the masks and Christ is born. We take off the doubts and the fears and the Christ is born. And what happens is the Holy Trinity of God is laid out by unity, unfolds before us, and creation happens easily. The three wise men. The Holy Trinity that we teach in unity. The gold, representing the pureness of your spirit that is untouched by human experience. The spirit that is untouched by loss, by fear, by criticism, and doubt. It cannot get into that place. So the gold represents the divine mind of God. The frankincense represents the divine idea, the divine character that is you. The divine Christ that is expressing at the point of view in the mind of God. And then finally, the divine expression, which is the heaven on earth experience. The myrrh says, I am living as oneness. From the divine mind, the divine idea of humanity, the Christ of you, of me, of all of us, we now have the physical reality that says, I am living in a state of oneness. And I am moving forward in love and in strength to be the holiness, to be the strength, to be the love, to be the one who is able to release the attachment and the need to control. Who? Me, holy? Yes. Me. One last time. Who? Me, holy? Yes. Me. When we know that truth, we live that truth, we be that truth. Christmas is a beautiful, organic process.